perform in here today.
What is that?
So yeah.
We're going to get started with our next interview with Sarah-Nicole Robles, and we're going to go ahead with our first outlet for the first question.
Yeah. Oh, she
I thought she was running out.
No, you
You
yes.
have to wait.
My question is hi, my name is Joshua Morales from Baltimore. My question for you is that Owl House is a very important story for the queer community. And I was just wondering, as someone who's helped bring this character to life, how does it feel to be part of something that's so important to so many people around the world?
Oh, it's such a privilege. It's such an honor. I can't really take any credit for it. I did not write the show, but I am so grateful that I got to be loose, because that's like why you want to be an artist, to like impact people and help share the world you want, or the way you want people to be. And so, Luz is just something that's so easy to be proud of, and she is just such a great example of like kindness and perseverance and acceptance to just be yourself. And yeah, being able to lift up the queer community is such an important thing that we need in the world right now. Representation is, a little lacking still, even though it's so much better than like when I was a kid. Yeah, just so grateful. It's an honor. Thank you. Hello.
What do you think is the biggest challenge of being a voice actor?
I don't know, being a voice actor is a really dope job. I would say the biggest challenge maybe isn't specific to just voice actors, maybe it's just like all actors or freelance artists. I think it's just the mental, like there's always, as awesome as one thing is, you're like, okay, but what's next, right? Because every job ends, unless like you're on like Family Guy or something, which is fire, or The Simpsons, It's always like, okay, this is awesome, I'm doing this, but I still have to get the next thing, and I still have to keep, coals in a lot of different fires. That way, if, something comes to an end, you can still pay your bills and plan for the future.
I'm curious because I looked at your list of credits, and you've done a few on-camera roles as well, which is incredible, awesome. But with voice acting, it's just you behind the mic, you giving your 110% best. I was curious, how would you say that maybe voice acting has helped improve you on camera acting, or vice versa?
Oh, what a good question. Well, I think maybe vice versa. Especially when it comes to like efforts and actions, you have to, you don't just act with your voice. Like, yeah, the voice is all you're seeing, but like we may be in the booth like sweating and jumping around and kicking and rolling and doing all that like while trying to stay on mic. I never thought about it in the inverse about how my voiceover experience, I don't know, I'm good at not shouting into my mic, I guess, when I'm on a set. I hope. If not, sorry to all our sound folks out there. I feel like it's made me a little more picky, to be honest. Like when I hear a take, I'm listening to like the music of the scene too, and like I'm a little more picky with how things land, just musically, for sure. Hello.
Hi, Win Malone with the Picture Authority. So walk me through your journey. Starting with voice acting, you can read about it and stuff like that, but I always like to hear, the story of how you got started.
Sure. Well, I always like wanted to perform in some way. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to sing, and then I realized like I can't sing that good. I can sing, yeah, but I wasn't going to be Celine Dion, much to my chagrin. And yeah, I kind of started doing like got into like musical theater, and then I was able to go to like a magnet school that had like all these majors, and I was like, well, I love movies, so like I'll go into theater. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had some amazing teachers there. And yeah, I love it. I love taking up artist correct. I love reading. I love storytelling. So it was a really fun medium for me. And then I went to college for the same thing, for acting, because I figured, like, let me try. And if I don't get into any acting schools, like, yeah, maybe I'm not good enough, and that's okay. I'll try something else. You know, like, I just was super unsure about like where I belonged. And then luckily I did. I made it. I got into school. I graduated, and right after one of our showcases in LA, I met with some wonderful people at Disney who had seen my showcase and asked me to come in, and you kind of do like a bunch of voices just to like be basically on file. And when I got in the booth and I was like doing those characters, and you know, like I had no experience, I just kind of had like one of those moments where you know you're in the right place, like you know you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And I never really had that. I never was like, this is my calling, until I was in a booth for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is exactly the right place for me. So then, yeah, I had my manager, I got an agent, and then, yeah, it's just like any other, like, 1,000 no's, and then you get one yes, and you keep training, keep working, and try to find the next yes.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
James turned to come on and do a podcast. Your work on Encanto, like that film, such, I don't want to say just cultural phenomenon, like it's cross-cultural representation that like sparks imagination, like everybody as far as, you know, mental health, family drama on various levels. How much of your own experiences went to character you voiced, and like, did you think it was going to be as big as it was after you were done working on it?
Sure. Okay, so I have a tattoo for Moana and for Encanto, so they were very important to me and very close and near and dear to me. I knew it was going to be a big deal. I mean, you can never know how big, but one, like, just the team that was already attached to it, and the story, and I heard some of the music, and then it's like landing, you're like, okay, yeah, it's like gonna be good. I was already a huge fan of all of them. But for me, the whole story with like the grandmother, I used like a lot of inspiration from one of my own grandmothers, and you know, we're super close, and it was really super cosmic because like she was obsessed with like butterflies, and those were like her thing, and you know, like the encanto, the magic of it at the end is like the butterflies. So, you know, again, right, it's just like a sign where you're right where you're supposed to be. So, Mirabel is like so important to me. Also, she got me through quarantine. That's what I was doing, like singing in my booth. You know, like my husband, yeah, he was like, I really can't hear that music anymore. Like, it's gotta stop. But yeah, it was super privileged. I'm so proud I got to do anything and just get to know those people, and I actually really appreciate the representation of like Hispanic family, because I think racially people don't understand the history and like what's gone down with like South America and the Caribbean, and so just to see kind of like the spectrum, and they're all family, you know, they're all like one family. I really felt like, I don't know, that was personal to me, and I loved seeing the dynamic of, yeah, like another nerdy, weird, misfit Hispanic girl. Like we have, well, we're all just people, so I love Mirabel. She's amazing, and yeah, the entire cast was amazing. They're so much better. Yeah. Hello.
Since you last spoke last year, you have added Queen Bobby to your collection. Your new adoption puppy.
Oh, yes. Queen Bob, yes. Roberta Nicole, my child, yes.
Can you tell us about her?
Sure, I would love nothing more than to talk about my dogs. Yes, Bob she's a healer mix. Her mom was 65 pounds, so we were like, oh, it's gonna be such a big dog. She's 25, she stopped, she was done growing. She's very bossy. She's also like the nicest, sweetest, most affectionate little bear. She allowed us to adopt our other dog, Luna, who was like so shy, super abused, super scared of everyone. And she just kind of like showed her the way. She's like, no, life is good here. We get to be like really uppity. Like, if you don't want to eat organic lamb, you don't have to eat it. Just because mom made it from scratch, you don't have to do that now. Like, you just wait and you go on a hunger strike, give her a panic attack, she'll make you something else. So, Yeah, my dogs are brats. I love them. I adopt them. It's like my background. Anytime you see me looking at my phone, I'm just looking at pictures of them. Like, whenever a day is hard, I'm like, there she is. So, yep, highly recommend it. Get a dog. Things are hard. Get 2 dogs. They're expensive.
Last question?
I did want to ask, going through school and choosing to go into acting, who was a big inspiration for you, and what about them made you want to do this more?
I gotta say my teachers. I think teachers are so important. They believed in me when I didn't believe in me. Like, my school that I ended up going to, Carnegie Mellon, is academically very challenging. It's like when I went to my guidance counselor, they're like, you should have some safeties. Like, that's a very, competitive school. But meanwhile, like, my theater teachers are like, audition for that, audition for Juilliard. Like, why wouldn't you? And they spent all their free time, like, reviewing my monologues with me and helping me with my auditions and making sure that when I got into that room, like, oh my God, I also, like, crashed my family's car and almost killed us all on the way to that audition. And it was like a 7-hour, like, thing in Pittsburgh. Everyone's waiting there. And of course, I was like one of the last people in the room for the whole day. So I was just like sitting there, like, but it was like they had drilled, like I had drilled that monologue. I had been so prepared. I was still able to, like, do what we had planned. So I credit them greatly. A good teacher is like such an inspiration, such a privilege. They opened up my world to so many things I never knew about, and I really would never, ever, ever, ever be here without them. So shout out to Dr. Straum, Ms. Pro. They're the best.
Well, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
We have a few minutes that we can get you pictures with our